power stocks, they're in focus. IIFL is positive on a whole host of power stocks, Torrent Power, Power Grid and NTPC. To decode what's fueling the rally in power stocks and what are the triggers going ahead, well, we have Harshvardhan Dole, the Vice President Institutional Equities at IIFL, who joins us on the show. Hi Harsh, always good to see you in. Well, tell us, how did you find the last quarter? You know, the Q2 numbers, the earnings, were they better than your expectations? And tell us that one top pick that you'll have from the power space.
Hi, thanks for having me. There are 3 or 4 takeaways that we, analyzed after looking at the second quarter number for power companies. First, the outlook on power demand that continues to be fairly benign, fairly strong, and looks like the cyclical recovery in demand will play out at least for next few quarters. Secondly, players are now acknowledging that seriously, we are running short of capacity. And there's going to be power deficit, or the rates have to go up if people want 24/7 power. Third, most importantly, people have started to beef up capacities which are other than renewables to build a portfolio which is lasting beyond FY27. And fourth, most importantly, the cash flow generation across the companies has been fairly strong because thanks to liquidity injection by the government through various schemes into the discoms, the receivable position for almost all the companies is fairly healthy. So looks like, the fundamentals are now turning much more stronger than what we started off the year with. And looks like there are more legs to the power story than what we had anticipated, say, a year ago. So looks like the positive moment should continue.
Harshvardhan, just a word. I think the latest piece of news was the Power Minister's comments at a recent industry event where he said that, renewable, of course, is that medium-term objective. Sustainability is what India is looking at. But in the near term, we need to add more thermal power. I think he gave a number as well. I think 80 gigawatts, if my memory serves me right. So if indeed you see more thermal addition now coming on stream, which companies and which stocks benefit the quickest?
See, if you were to look at sheerly just the capacity addition announcements, then utilities will tend to benefit the least and the last when the projects commercialize. For example, when NTPC will announce a project, it will start to earn returns only when the project commercializes, which is maybe 4 to 5 years away. But till the time project is complete, the host of EPC companies or the food chain companies who will implement the project and the finances thereof will tend to benefit disproportionately. So there are 2 ways to play the whole theme. Either you play the annuity models like NTPC Power Grid, or you evaluate which food chain company you are most happy owning based on your risk reward and risk matrix screen. And, or maybe look at PFC and REC, who are the largest lenders to the whole sector. There are multiple ways to play the theme. We choose to play the theme through utilities, where we think the risk reward is much more balanced and favorable.
Harshvardhan, hi, morning. So that's sort of absolutely clear, right? REC financiers, play the financiers because the utilities themselves who to build their stuff will benefit the last. So what's the size of the opportunity? So the 80 gigawatts is what the minister said. The exact statement was 80 gigawatts need to be under construction. And in that statement, he went on to say that it's mostly going to come from PSUs, not private companies. So, there is already a fair bit which is under construction, right? I think some 30 gigawatts are under construction projects. So have you looked at what's the incremental out of this 80? How much new stuff new needs to be created, which is the fresh creation opportunity that you're looking at, if you have numbers?
See, frankly, the way we analyze things, at least government is making noise that we need thermal here beyond FY27. Because other than the 2022 gigawatt capacity which is under construction, there is no new pipeline. And to that extent, it is quite heartening to see that government is willing to look at scenario which is beyond RE and beyond FY27. So to that extent, now one has to go back to the drawing board and say which of the states can actually pay for this power for the next 25 years. And that sort of a permutation and combination will be underway. But in my opinion, in the bear case, the worst case scenario, India would still need to add at least 10 to 15,000 megawatt of thermal capacity each year if the GDP growth of, say, anywhere between 6 to 8% were to sustain. So the worst case is 10 gigawatt. In the bull case, maybe this could go to anywhere between 20 and 22 gigawatt of thermal capacity. And that's the need of the hour.
For how many years, Harshvardhan? 10
Well,
gigawatts a year.
This pipeline has to be created for the at least next 3 to 4 years for the energy security. That's our take.
Harshvardhan, I was looking at your list of stocks. You mentioned that you're preferring to play the opportunity through some of the power utilities. You have a buy on NTPC, you have a buy on Torrent as well, I believe. You have an ad on Torrent. You have a sell on Tata Power. So that was a little curious. Talk to us more about it, because we discussed this with the company in terms of adding more capacity. And I think the statement that we got was they're continuing to focus more on renewables. And then, of course, Tata Power is a very complex stock as well. There's the coal trading business, et cetera, et cetera. So why a sell over there?
Well, if you analyze the whole opportunity, we are more comfortable owning annuity plays rather than unregulated plays, which the RE players tend to be. And it's not that, we think Tata Power is a structural sell. It's a sell based on valuation. So if the stock corrects maybe another 15-20%, it could be a good, portfolio allocation. But having said that, I think companies like NTPC and Torrent, these are stitching up their portfolios based on annuity cost plus model. And that is what makes us much more comfortable. While one may argue that Torrent is one of the most expensive stocks in the sector, however, if you take a 3 to 4 year view in terms of normalized power demand and their ability to compound their earnings at maybe 12 to 15% in base case and generate heaps of cash flow, and that to an ROCE which is impeccable, I think the stock is ridiculously cheap. It will continue to appear expensive and yet outperform the market by a wide margin. And that's the reason why it continues to be our preferred pick.
Okay. Harshvardhan, finally, power usually has been this sleepy, steady sector. It's only over the last couple of months that it's gotten really hot, right, and exciting. The market's mood is always mid-caps and small caps. So discuss some of the bigger companies. Talk to us about any interesting mid-cap opportunities if you see out there. Nigel was just reminding me about what happened in the smart metering rush, right? We all remember what happened to Genus Power and a couple of these other players. Anything else in mid-caps? I don't know, maybe the lubricant makers or maybe some of the other EPC contractors. Mid-cap or small-cap power stock to watch out for in the food chain, as you said?
I mean, forget food chain. While there are exciting plays in food chain, even within utilities, if you were to pick CESC, I think the payoffs are very asymmetrical. The stock has kind of, underperformed because of issues with respect to tariff revision in Kolkata. But in my opinion, if the power demand is going to outstrip the supply by a margin, the state has no option but to increase the tariffs. And were that scenario to play out over the next maybe 12 to 18 months, maybe post-elections or so, the stock offers an absolute asymmetric payoff, what NTPC offered at 80 rupees. There is very little downside, and the multiples can maybe, expand 80 to 100% hereof, because the gap between a CESC and a Torrent is like, at all-time high. So while there are food chain plays, even CESC to me offers a very attractive payoff.
That's a powerful idea, isn't it? Thanks for reminding us, putting CESC back on the table. It's been a good chat, Harshvardhan. Thank you very much for joining in. You have a great day. That's making sense of the power space.